Welcome, this is your color series where you choose the colors for my canvas. So my Instagram family has helped me to choose these colors. They suggested different colors and these were picked randomly. I'm here with the calligraphy and the reminder for this month. I have chosen the name Al-Razzaq from Asma'ul Husna as the calligraphy for this month, and my message comes from that. Razzaq means the sustainer, and rizq in Arabic means sustenance. So Razzaq is the one who gives us sustenance. So how to define the word rizq? The true definition is that rizq means whatever that is making living on this earth easier, whatever that is facilitating your life in this world. That is rizq. Truly, we can do an exercise of gratitude by listing down all the rizq we have in our lives, because the list will be really long. For an example, whatever bit of love you have in your life, that is rizq. People who uplift you, they are rizq. And if you are getting enough food, water, shelter, and safety, if you are living somewhere safe, you have got a great amount of rizq. Your talents, the opportunities you get, and if you have a positive mindset, plus if you feel some sort of strength and energy physically and mentally, these are all rizq, because these are all making living in this world very much easier. So if any of you are struggling with some negativity in your mind, you can use this name of Allah in your supplications. You can ask, Ya Razzaq, give me some positive mindset. And if you are looking forward for opportunities, good people to surround yourself, you can use this name. So this name of Allah, Ar-Razzaq, has a shadda in that. So that indicates the action being repeated. Like, we call a baker khabbaz in Arabic because he is repeatedly making khubz. And we call an artist fannan because we artists repeat the action of creating art. We find many other names of Allah in this same pattern. This is a group of nouns in Arabic. So you find the name Mannan, Wahhab, all meaning that he is the giver of gifts, and Razzaq is sustainer, and it is also having a shadda, which indicates that Allah is never tired of giving. Whereas the people will feel drained out if we keep on asking them, because we human beings run out of energy and resources. But Allah is Al-Ghani, and His wealth does not decrease by giving. Some people might ask, if Allah is generous and if Allah knows everything about us, why doesn't He give us everything without letting us beg several times? And the reason is Allah loves to hear His servants' voices. And Allah, being His majestic self, loves His slaves to ask from Him. We might not need to ask from anybody else if we ask Allah enough. Well, today I want to talk about something that might be bothering many of us. We feel so anguish when we are stolen from and when we are snatched away from, and there will be times when we will be forsaken by certain people, and a lot of hurt might involve in those situations. And some of us often ask this question, why this is happening only to me? But the reality is that is one of the tests we are all facing, yet we think that we are alone in this trial. In our belongings, material possessions, we might face losses. So it might be really hurting to find people forsake you or mistreat you. It might be really tough. Maybe you had asked these questions. How people can be so cruel? How people can be so senseless? And we try to explain things to people and expect them to understand and be remorseful, but they won't try to understand at times, and they won't be remorseful, and we will be so shocked to find people behaving in that way. We might wait for them to change, but the change is supposed to happen in our perception. We often drag people into an equation where only we and Allah should be, and nobody else should be in that equation. If you didn't get what I'm saying, I want to quote one of the Quran verses where Allah said, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Which means Allah is saying that He will certainly test us. And in the verb وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ, you can see a shadda on the last noon, which is an indication of the certainty being emphasized here. He's saying that He will certainly, for sure, test us. When He says you, He's referring to us. He will test us with something of fear, hunger, loss of wealth, lives and fruits. But He also says, but give glad tidings to as-sabirin, which means the patient ones. In another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَعَلْنَا بَعْضَكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ فِتْنَةً أَتَصْبِرُونَ, which means He is saying that we have made some of you as a trial for some. Will you be patient? These verses aren't so negative or scary that we should be sad upon hearing them. I find a lot of hope in these verses because Allah is saying that He will be testing us with our same kind people, and also people will let us down, but Allah will never let us down. We will be wronged by people as a test from Allah, but we will never be wronged by Allah. That's reassurance. And by all of this, Allah is reminding us about the true purpose behind all of those trials. We get so occupied with thinking what people did to us and how they behaved, when that is just a test from Allah. As we do not lose hope in Allah, we don't have to get negative ideas about people. Just because a person might be a test doesn't mean that everybody else would be a test as well. Some people in your life will be a blessing. And we don't have to think that the hurt or the pain caused by those trials will last forever. No, the losses will be compensated and the pain will be relieved by the grace of Allah. And I know it is very difficult to lose what you have. Losses hurt a lot, whether it could be your material possessions, people, or your health. Everything is very tough. But one thing we have to remember is those tests don't define our entire lives, and it is a sign that Allah is testing us and that He is going to accompany us throughout the journey. Do not for a minute think that you are alone. May Allah reward all of you who are enduring some sort of trial at this moment, some sort of loss. May Allah reward you for your patience. And Allah knows how hard it is for you and how hard you might have tried to stay positive. And Allah will never disappoint you with His rewards. He is going to reward you and make you happier than ever. An old house is demolished to build a new one, and a hand that is full of old stuff is emptied out just to place new and better things. We can never relate this to losing a loved one to death, but imagine your soul or your heart being shattered at that moment. And why Allah is breaking your heart only to rebuild it stronger and beautiful. And our dates of death are written, so are our sustenance, whether it is people or material possessions. Whatever that we get has been written and decided by Allah. And when you feel someone wrongfully took something away from you, or took something of your possession from you, never for a moment think that they can take away what Allah has written for you. Like, your rizq is written by Allah and the decisions are made by Allah, and people can never steal or make changes in that rizq that was written for you. People just don't have the power to influence the amount of rizq Allah has written for you. Like, it might seem like you are losing, but in reality, they cannot make any change in the rizq Allah has written for you. What Allah has decided to give you, none of the people can make any change in that. I'm not saying that we must be silent when we are wronged. We can fight for our rights, but we can always decide where we put our energy and focus in, because we want our minds to be beautiful, and sometimes it's beneficial and helpful to let go of certain things when they are snatched away from us. What I mean is, sometimes fighting for a right that was violated will take or eat up all of our energy and passion, which can be put in other things. Like, imagine if someone else took something that belongs to you, and sometimes fighting to recover that might cost our energy and time. So much so that our happiness and emotional well-being might become a bit disturbed. We don't want that, right? But imagine if there is a situation where if you fought for your own right, you will be doing good for the society. Like, if you fought for your right, that is going to speak up for others' rights as well. Then it is the right thing to fight for that. But in certain situations, when we want to just prove what was right and fight for that, that costs so much of our energy and passion, which I think we can invest in improving and shining in other areas of life. So when people take away your belongings from you in a wrongful manner, or when they steal it from you, do not let them steal the hope in you that you have kept in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He will never ever wrong you or let you down. And also, when a loved one who is so close to you had to leave this world, do not let your heart to leave with them. Just do not let your hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leave with them. You don't have to do that. That might be the last thing your loved ones may want you to do. And do not let your brighter and mightier self surrender to the darkness of the illnesses, because everything comes with a deadline. Just because we haven't found something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I have huge respect for the medical sector and all the findings they have come up with. They are putting so much effort, and the medical experts know way more than me, and I know a very little compared to them. But one thing I believe is Allah knows way more than those medical experts. So what I mean is that you should definitely seek professional help in needed times, but take care of the hope and belief in you, because miracles can happen and there is no limit for believing. Just believe. And I think it's true that Allah can do anything. Every illness has a deadline. They have to end when Allah commands them to leave. They have to leave. And don't forget that He is the one who is taking care of the limbs and your organs. So do not ever give up believing and asking Allah for complete cure for your illnesses. And I want you to believe that if you feel like you have grown to become unhappy, that doesn't mean that you're going to stay the same way forever. You will recover from whatever trauma, pain you have. There is a way. There is somewhere in this world Allah has placed a way to overcome that. So do not ever lose hope. And do not ever decrease the amount of du'as you are asking. Ask Allah Ar-Razzaq for health, wealth, happiness, and good people. And stay confident that never ever will your rizq be changed by any of those people. Everything that tests your patience is a test from Allah, and He is testing your response, your attitude. So make dua to have good attitude and sabr. Until I meet you again in another video, I want to end this video with a beautiful and powerful dua to ask Ar-Razzaq, which goes like this: Allahumma rzuqna min haythu la nahtasib, meaning that, oh Allah, sustain us from ways which we will never imagine. Allahumma rzuqna min haythu la nahtasib.